Thank you. I'd like to begin by welcoming the students and everyone. Thank you for attending on this lovely Perth winter day. Welcome also to those of you who are viewing online. Before I introduce our very special guest, my name is 𝙂𝙮𝙖𝙡, and I'm a member of Support for Academic Learning, whose role it is to support students and develop their skills in literacy, numeracy, and basically encourage lifelong learning. It is a privilege to be invited to take part in this very special event. Indeed, it is a privilege to be in this very room. You are sitting in the seat where I started my journey through university 42 years ago. Most of all, it is more than a privilege to introduce our special guest, His Eminence, 𝙂𝙮𝙠𝙝 Rinpoche. We are truly honoured and blessed to have Rinpoche here to share his wisdom, his insights, and to enlighten us. Rinpoche is widely known and an approachable mindfulness teacher, author and speaker. To borrow from past introductions, he speaks and acts from a point where Buddhism, mental health, environmental activism and humanitarianism intersect. He is author of the book The Restful Mind, a wonderful and refreshing read. And he has also presented popular talks in many countries around the world. Rinpoche also presents a podcast, The Restful Mind, which explores contemporary topics such as taming our restful mind, social media, relationships, equality, and dealing with loss. Rinpoche's words will no doubt help us clear our minds and offer us a unique opportunity for personal and spiritual growth. To His Eminence, welcome and thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm welcome to Rinpoche. Rinpoche, it's truly an honour to be having this conversation with you. If you don't mind, I'd like to begin by asking you a question about your book, The Restful Mind. In the book, you state that the restless mind is frightened of silence, easily bored and busy, busy, busy. The restful mind, on the other hand, is creative and alert, relaxed and confident. To move from restless to restful is simply a way of thinking. So how did you come about writing The Restful Mind, and how can we calm our sometimes restless minds?
Very good evening to everyone, and on behalf of myself and my colleagues from Bhutan, we thank the Murdoch University, the faculty, and all the students for the warm welcome, and thank you, Dr. Phil. Coming back to the question about the restful mind, actually it's kind of strange how the writing of the restful mind came about, because actually we were, since I studied in the Buddhist University in Bhutan, Tango University, for 9 years. So we study a lot of philosophical things and practice and things. But then, like when these philosophies are applied to the life, our day-to-day life, what kind of perspective, if we put this philosophy into our daily kind of perspective. So that was the So when we thought about if we had to, all the spiritual, the philosophies that we learned, if we take out the spirituality and kind of applied it in our life, how will the perspective of life will be? That was the start of the writing of The Restful Mind. And I remember that that I had to edit the last book, and when I was reading the book, editing it, I remember I was going on a train journey and reading the Restful Mind. I used to think, oh, that's very true, and I forgot that I wrote the book. And that also highlights that many of the wisdom, if you find in the Restful Mind book, is not really my wisdom, but the wisdom that I have received from my great teachers, and and even myself, when I read these teachings, it continues to inspire me, and it's inspiration for myself too. And the Restful Mind, I think for all of us, I think at the beginning of the book, when we had to write dedication, I wrote that I dedicate this book to my guru, my teacher. I have many teachers, but I have highlighted one of my teachers. And I said that I am grateful to this teacher, my teachers, because they are the one who taught me that happiness, sadness, Sure. Sure. Have these two, right? Yeah, 11 minutes? Sure. Yes. Atara 𝙂𝙮𝙖𝙡𝙠 We are used to carrying bell and damaru in our ceremonies. So in the dedication I wrote that my teachers have given me understanding that the happiness, sadness, are given definition in our mind. That is why happiness and suffering is a very subjective experience. So is success, failure. Sometimes the society gives you a definition, but what really impacts us is not really the societal kind of, to some extent, but it's really how we view ourselves. That's why often society may think that you are doing very well, but you are not doing so well because of the perspective that you have. Maybe you are not compassionate enough to yourself. Maybe you are too hard on yourself, and maybe we forget that success, is a moving post. It's not something that, okay, now I've reached, now I'm happy. It's not. It's a post that we keep moving further and further, until I think almost the time until we go to grave, we are moving it. That's what keeps us busy. That through that I felt that as a gratitude to my teachers, I think I at least have an understanding that the happiness and the success and the failures and the confidence, etc. All of these are arising out of my mind, and mind is something that is within us, and that is something that we have a large control over. But many external situations, be it visa problems, be it relationship problem, financial. Yes, to some extent there are many things we can do, but there are many things which are beyond our control. And also there is no guarantee that even if everything external is perfect, it doesn't really guarantee happiness and peace of mind. And if success is defined by something external, let's say, for me, success and happiness is to become a Jeff Bezos. How many Jeff Bezos are there? We can count in our finger. So does that mean that every one of us who are not multimillionaire or billionaires, are we a failure? No, we are not. Because failure and success are defined by our own mind. Yes, it is for sure that we all need to be able to take care of ourselves, our family, and we should strive for a better future for ourselves, family. Yes, but at the same time, I think we should also have a understanding that success and failure, happiness are something that is internal definition. That is why it keeps changing. That's why I think that many of us, when we are asked, when are you going back to Bhutan, it's hard to answer the question. Because our things, the circumstances and our thoughts keeps changing, We may go early, we may go later. Situation keeps us changing, right?
Wonderful. Thank you. That leads nicely on to this next question. And this is very much on behalf of our international students who've honoured us by choosing to study at Murdoch. And this may be a time of stress and anxiety for them, their family and friends as they deal not only with the demands of study, which includes waiting for exam results, but also recent changes to Australia's migration policy, including visas and work restrictions. Financial strains also are a significant concern for both current and prospective students. So this is a multifaceted question. What would you just say to our international students? What are some key strategies that can help them alleviate stress and anxiety? And how can the concepts of meditation and mindfulness practices support the mental health and well-being? Thank you.
Firstly, to all of the students who are going through these challenges, I really don't want to belittle it. I definitely understand that it's a very big challenges because many of the students, in order to come here, they have made a lot of, sacrifices, financial responsibilities, and they also came up with not only for themselves, but I think, all those people who have, had picnic and said goodbye to you at the Paro airport. All of their expectations, hopes, you all are carrying. So it's definitely, I think, we have to acknowledge that unless you yourself are going through it, it's very hard to other people to understand each individual's challenges. So I don't think we should, I think that we have to acknowledge it, that, it is a difficult time for sure. Now coming back to the meditation part, the meditation is to give the role that a meditation, whatever meditation you do or prayers you do, prayers are also a meditation, is to give you a sense of clarity, a little bit of sense of the detachment, right? Because when we don't have a little bit of calmness of the mind, detachment, we have a tendency to view every issue as life and death, something that is like, I used to met some directors in Bhutan, film directors, and I always used to joke with them that one day I want to make a movie, and in that movie will be one very old man or woman who looks back at his life, and then he remembers that there was a time that he was really stressed about the exam, and he nearly wanted to, kill himself, but somehow or other, he passed away. He passed the exam, or maybe without even passing exam, he got a job and he was successful. And then there was a time that he fell in love, and his heart got broken. He thought, I will never love again. But when he looks back at his life, he actually fell in love 5 times. And each time he thought, this is it, I can't take it anymore. But he did take it.
I think you're describing my past.
And maybe, now he's an old man and, nobody really recognizes him. But at one time, maybe he was prime minister of a country. And he had a great high status. Everybody praised him. Everybody wanted to get to know him. But now when he looks back, people have forgotten. It's like a memory, all that VIP, status he had, importance, fame. So when you look back at a life from a very broader perspective, a little bit kind of, not just focusing on that one situation, but a little bit distance, then our issues become more manageable, from and we see things from a multiple angle. Right? For example, yes, it is true that, first of all, things may actually work out. And there are many things you can do. There are many other ways you can do to achieve whatever you want. Have we really tried them? When we get really lost in the darkness of the, that over-consuming of focusing on the difficult part, we even forget about the avenues and the resources that we have to achieve what we want. We forget to ask for help. We forget, so many possibilities that there are. The world is full of possibility. And secondly, whether it's the issue, financial issue or visa or whatever. And secondly, we think that our parents, our families will be disappointed in us. But we often forget that as much as we love our families and our parents, they too love us. They too care for us. Yes, they will probably be happy if we can do well and as well as support them. But I don't think they want us to, do well at the cost of your life, cost of you suffering that much, And if we fail, I think they will understand, because I am quite sure that our parents, our family, they also go through ups and downs in their life. There is no one in this world whose life has always been upward trajectory. All of us, we have gone through darkest of moment, greatest of moment, ups and downs. It's a natural part of life. So I think, we don't give enough credit to our families and friends about not understanding us. They are also human beings. I think they have gone through. So, and when we kind of forget that, we focus on the expectation they have and forget about, that if we, for example, in the worst case scenario, we do something like, harming ourselves, the great pain that they will go through is much more than, little bit failure here and there in our life, So the meditation and the prayers, what it does is, any meditation, we don't need to, we can talk about specifics later, but generally meditation, firstly, any meditation or prayer brings your mind to the present. Is no longer worried about what's happened, and guilt and, all the past, what may happen, and may not happen, all the anxieties of the future, and bring your mind to this moment, to this chair, to this body, at this moment, through meditation. And at this moment, we are okay. Later, who don't know, past is gone. And at this moment is also life. Life doesn't begin tomorrow. Life doesn't begin when everything is in perfect order. Every moment is also our life. So meditation helps to bring the mind to the present. And then there are also, the different stages of meditation, where meditation also allows us to have a, generate a sense of compassion towards all the beings. And when we have a connection towards all the beings, kind of compassion, I think we later talk about also compassion, also enable us to see others as yourself, equal to yourself. Without the compassion, we often forget about the human being beside, human behind the facade. I always give this example that once I was in a train in New York, and I saw a husband and a wife. Wife was on the aisle, husband was near the window seat, and one stranger came. And then I think the wife's leg was a bit out, so I think she hit the wife. The husband immediately got up and apologized profusely to the stranger, which was very nice. But then what he did next was he scolded his wife. So it was very strange to me. Of course, I appreciate the fact that he's polite to a stranger, but the fact is that I feel the reason why we feel comfortable in scolding our wife or husband is because we forget that because the label called wife, husband, professor, student, it kind of blind us to the human being behind that label. And then we can't empathize with others. We don't understand. And when you can't understand, to connect, to forgive is very difficult. So meditation also helps in this aspect. And lastly, the meditation of calm and abiding is a meditation where basically is a very simple, in a way profound but simple, is just to observe your mind without definition. And the reason for that is because one of the main reasons we are disturbed by many things is we are trapped in our own definitions. We have a definition of who we are, who we want to be, who we think society wants us to be, our definition of what we think is success, what we think is a failure. So many definitions that we carry, it kind of, it burdens us. It's a very heavy, especially if it's difficult to achieve. So when you do this meditation, you just remove all these definitions and just see, who you are. There's a saying that one great master was given 1 kilogram of gold, and he carried around every day for 1 month. And after 1 month, he said it's too heavy, and he threw it away. This too heavy, and all his monks, attendants was, saying, "Why did you throw it? This could have taken care of us for years. We could build a monastery." Because for him, a gold being valuable was a definition, not a reality. Gold and stone was equal in terms of being valuable and available. That is why the gold price goes up and down depending on society's valuation. Gold doesn't go up and down, right? So that is why the last meditation is mainly about seeing things as they are, so that we can kind of break down the cages slowly, all these definitions that we have trapped ourselves in. So the meditations have different stages and different, the thing.
Wonderful, thank you. Different perspectives, very nice. And that leads nicely on to my next question. We teach our students when they enter university, they're entering another culture. They're becoming bicultural, if you like. They need to write academically. They need to engage with their fellow students. They need to attend class and hand in assignments and do exams on time. When they graduate, and of course you all will, you will dress up in flowing robes. It really is a culture. You often speak of the concept of transformation, Rinpoche, that it's natural, but it may be difficult for all of us. But if it's accepted, it becomes bearable and we can see opportunities in it. Can you describe this concept of transformation as you see it, and what advice can you give to our students to help them understand that the culturalism of university is a good thing, a normal thing on the way to becoming or transforming into a successful student? Thank you.
Firstly, I want to kind of... it's my own definition, and perhaps I'm wrong, but I feel that when we talk about culture, there are, I feel that we can kind of define, I'm not expert on culture, the disclaimer, but I feel that there is an external culture and internal culture. For example, external culture will be the dress, how we dress, what kind of house design we have, what food we eat, the language that we use, and something that is expressed verbally or physically that can be perceived by the others. And there's an internal culture. For example, in Bhutan, I would say the Bhutanese or Himalayan culture externally, I think the wearing ko and kira, eating ematatsi, you know, these are all part of the culture, speaking the language, you know, bowing down, you know, to elders, to professors, calling them sirs. You know, this is I think a little bit of sir, probably British culture. But that is the external kind of the culture, and that part, I definitely feel that when we go to another country, we really have to learn the other country's way of expressing, you know, themselves, external culture. We have to learn to adapt. We have to, learn to communicate, so that you are able to integrate well. You know. However, I think the internal culture, I don't know about many other countries' culture, but Himalayan culture and Bhutanese culture, for example, we talk about, for example, Kadin Gasor is our inner culture. Kadin means to have a sense of gratitude, you know. And when you have a sense of gratitude, there will be a sense of joy in you, in others. Now, after coming to Australia, do we have to change that? Now, that is, I don't know. Maybe in the Australian culture, we don't really bow down and say, that to, sir, to elders or to. But I think any human being in the world will appreciate respect and appreciation, if you're a human being. And if we talk about, in our culture about tatamsi, which means that tat, of course there are many definitions, but my understanding is, tam is a bond, sik is that when you have a strong bond between family, between country, between the citizen, between the friends, we should nurture a very strong kind of the bond of caring, and then all other misunderstandings, etc. will be, burned away, right? So the internal culture of, I think, the gratitude, respect, that kind of the values that you have, I think that is, I feel that these are values that every culture really appreciates. I feel that, and that is something I think, we can kind of nurture. But external cultures, I think we have to adapt it. Now, because anyway, the internal culture, because depending on whatever kind of culture, innerly, outerly, you choose to live your life, there is always, kind of, for example, I think in the Himalayan culture, we will say that we live in a very interdependent society. We care a lot about the society and the interdependent, and that also, but then what we get back in the return is also a sense of community, sense of helping each other out. Actually, there was a very interesting, I think, the line from, Guru Rinpoche's teaching that I was just, Guru Rinpoche said that, Guru Padma Sambhava's advice was, without losing your individual need, guard the general welfare of others, which means that I think the first one is Guru Rinpoche saying, without losing your individual need means we must learn to take care of ourselves, whatever needs you have. Right? For example, I think in our culture, we have a tradition of, asking for, donations, especially the spiritual events. So I always tell the organizers also that, donation is something that is very much heartfelt gift. It should not be a societal pressure, right? So when you do something, you have to take care of your own need, your own whatever, and then happily you do something to help others, help society. There is a sense of joy, and there is not much of a, the kind of, the negative side effect. But when you can't take care of yourself, and you without fulfilling your need, you try to take care of others, you try to be a very good person, And then slowly, I think, slowly over time, I think resentment builds. You know? So that is why Guru Rinpoche is very clearly, yes, now he's not talking about the great saints and all of, he's to ordinary. First take care of yourself, your need. But after that, don't forget to take care of others. You know? Why? Important to take care of others is because we live in an interdependent world. You know? Like before we came here, we were just talking to the field that in the modern society, sometimes there's too much emphasis on individual needs, focusing on individual, which is important. But if we focus too much on individual, needs, and we push away all the people that we love and care, then we will definitely end up alone. And when we're alone, then we feel lonely, depressed. And when we are depressed, I don't know whether it's true, but I read many times that loneliness is worse than 15 cigarettes a day. Loneliness kills you 10 years earlier than, right? And when you're alone, when you're feeling lonely and sad, you are supposed to talk to other people, right? But if you focus too much on individualistic, you have chased away everybody. You have chased away your husband because he doesn't do what you want. No, he doesn't, You have chased your wife because she refused to listen to, whatever you want. We have chased away. The moment someone deviates from your expectation of others, if we chase away, we'll probably be left with no one. Right? So if we are able to, I think that's why the second part of Guru Rinpoche, first he said, yes, take care of yourself, your need. But after that, don't forget to care about others. Because we are living emotionally also, human being needs to be part of a large part of something, to be cared, to have a purpose. It's a very interconnected world. So that part, I don't know whether you call it culture or a value, I feel that is something that we need to value and develop wherever we go. And I feel that this is something everyone will appreciate. That's why the whole world is talking about the connections and just good. Now, as to directly about the transformation and impermanence. So now, when we are faced with the transformation from the time that we are born until the we die, there is transformation going on in our physical body every day, every second. So when we are faced with the challenges, blessing and difficulties can also be a perspective. What is the blessing in a one way can be obstacle viewed from another point of view. And what is considered, the difficulty can also be viewed as a blessing and opportunity. Right? So we have to, when the difficulty comes, if there's something we can do to, change it to the way we want, then we should definitely do. If we can't, learning to accept it, seeing its possibility. For example, many of people who have moved abroad may have found it very difficult, but maybe now that difficulty has been transformed, and now we are maybe you are having a very good life. You are happy to be here. Even though initially you went through difficulty. Maybe the difficulty forced you to change some directions in your life. So that is why I think that transformation, changes are happening all the time. I think there is nothing we can do. I think we can accept it and find opportunities in it.
Thank you. That's wonderful advice. Thank you. You highlighted the value of compassion early on, compassion and wisdom as necessities for someone to have an enlightened mind. And you also have said in your writings and your talks, enlightenment is available to everyone. It's within us. So what roles do you believe that compassion and wisdom play in mental well-being, and how can we develop it in our daily lives and apply it to ourselves as well as to others? Thank you.
I think that compassion towards yourself towards others kind of open up to, understanding. For example, I feel that when someone is very negative towards us, they do something that we don't like or trying to harm us, the first, reaction that we have is that they are intentionally doing this to harm us. But if you really think of it, not from emotional kind of getting, but very calm perspective, actually that he or she is not really, I don't think others' priority is to harm you. Their priority is pursuit of their happiness. And you are unfortunately in the way. Or at least they think that way. By doing that negative path, probably will not give them the happiness and the success they want. But that's their perspective. So their main perspective is happiness. And the path they've chosen is harming others. So when you understand it that way, you kind of, I won't say that you have to, that you shouldn't do anything to protect yourself but at least you have an understanding. And once you have an understanding, things become much more kind of manageable. You also understand what they want, what they really need. Then there is a opportunity for dialogue, opportunity for negotiations. But when you think that all they want is to harm you and that's their goal, then there's no room for negotiation. We have to kill each other. Now, coming to the wisdom point, and enlightenment is available to all. Enlightenment is, nothing other than, we say enlightenment also has a status, but enlightenment is nothing other than understanding your mind, understanding how your mind works, what is the nature of your mind. That is the definition of enlightenment. So we say that when we talk of Guru Rinpoche and Buddha, they are enlightened not because they carry trident or they look in a certain way, but because they've completely understood their nature of the mind. And nature of the mind of every being in the world is not negative. Negativity is not the nature of the mind. Because, and that is I remember in one of the podcasts we talked about why in Bhutan there is a fourth king of Bhutan. He, kind of abolished the capital punishment. So the most heaviest punishment in Bhutan is life imprisonment. So I think my understanding, of course, I can't read, the great king's mind, but one must be from a Buddhist, the Bodhisattva point of view, being compassionate. But from another perspective, is because fundamental Buddha, when you talk of enlightenment, we are saying that if the nature of every being is a negative, then you can't actually blame others, because that is their nature. You can't blame a tiger for eating a deer, that's their nature, right? So the reason why we try to educate others, children, yourself, give advice is because fundamental belief that nature of the human being is a positive, wisdom is there, compassion is there, but it has been overshadowed by negative habits and patterns that we have formed, and they've formed so strongly that it looks like who you are. Like a beautiful crystal ball covered with the dirt. It looks like a black ball, but you know that if you wash it nicely, there is a beautiful, clean, bright crystal ball within all of us. And that is the reason why we strive for to be a better human being. And that also the confidence that we can have, no matter what stage of life we are in, what we have done or what we are doing, if we want, we can change ourselves. Enlightenment is because it's our nature. Very dirty probably now, very covered, but still there. Yeah, and that is enlightenment.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just watching the time because I want to give the audience a chance to ask some questions. So I'll have one more question for you, if that's all right. Rinpoche. And this is about university is a soup, a mix of different personalities, skills, wants, needs, and it's a wonderful intersection of many, many cultures, as you know. As teachers and sharers of knowledge, having a one-size-fits-all approach is challenging. Okay. So we provide free counselling and wellbeing support for all our students and staff. However, there may be various reasons why an individual may choose not to use this service. This may be something new or a cultural difference. So if a student feels lost and needs support, what advice can you give them? And what advice can you give to students who may not seek support, or in order to encourage them to use the services we provide and seek help and support, something that's common for us to do here? Thank you.
I think that one of the reasons, if I may guess, is because I think the mental health issues are relatively new to the Himalayan region. Or maybe there was mental health issue, but maybe the term that we use is more like mental suffering. But it's also true that as the world modernizes, we do lose the fabric of the society does get kind of changes, and we lose the connection with our nature, our family, our community, and there are much more, I would say, more kind of and not only that, even the social media that we watch, that it's a world in itself. It creates a reality which looks so real. But if you really live the way the social media influencers tells you, I think we'll end up, in a very, I think we'll end up with a lot of disappointment, and a lot of emptiness in our life. So anyway, is not used to, and I guess also so that is why I think that now is changing even in the Himalayan region, but before, talking about mental health and counseling was not something that we are very used to. But however, I feel that if the university has such a, the government of Australia has such a kind of, the opportunities are there, I think we should definitely avail of it. And there's no kind of, the embarrassment, in that. Because the whole reason Buddha got enlightened was because our existence has a lot of challenges. That's why, no matter how wonderful a country is, we don't call it heaven or pure land, It is still, cyclic existent. And in a cyclic existence, to be born, age, sickness, not getting what you want, getting what you don't want, fear of losing what you have, fear of not getting what you want. These are the common suffering that has been from the time of the immemorial till now. Every human being go through this difficulty. And yes, and also happiness and the suffering we experience are also due to many cause and conditions, external, internal. And anything that is conditional will always change. So that means that everybody, from the president to the ordinary people, all of us at one time or another, when the condition arises, we go through difficult times. So it's not something that only one individual is going through. If you read the mental health nowadays, the mental health is on the rise year after year, millions of millions. And by you going through the mental health doesn't mean that you are somehow less than others. It just means you are not, Guru Padma Sambhava yet. You're just a human being, right, with all these things. So I think that, and also, I think that, maybe it's in our culture, or maybe it's the thing that sometimes we have a hesitancy in asking others for help. This is very much, I think, our culture, because I also have this kind of that we hesitate in asking for help because we think it might be bothersome to other people. You know? We don't want to disturb others, bothers others. You know? But then throughout my life experience, I've come to realize that sometimes, you know, asking others for help not only helps you, but it also helps them, because they also feel needed. They also feel useful, you know, right? So that's why sometimes, even though I don't need things, I ask them, you know, please do this for me. And I can see their smiling faces, you know. You know? Of course, everything is a balance, you know? Not too much, right? Even the best food will give you diarrhea if it's too much, you know, right? But generally, you know, we human beings, you know, we also need to be needed and, you know, have a purpose and be, you know, contributing. But others also do. So that's why sometimes asking for help can be good for you as well as for them too. You know? Right?
Yes, thank you. A sense of purpose goes both ways.
Yes, exactly. You know, I think they say that even if you're able to do something that is beyond yourself, even your mental health improves. So maybe the counselor's mental health improves a little bit after helping us. It's possible.
Exactly. I like it. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rinpoche. That's wonderful. At this point, we will open the floor to some questions. If you wish to ask a question, please raise your hand and we'll pass you a microphone. And just for the interest of time, if we just keep it to one question, and if you can just introduce yourself. So please, if you feel like you would ask a question, thank you. If we can pass the microphone, thank you.
Hello. Hello everyone. I have no questions prepared here because I'm very prepared. My name is 𝙂𝙮𝙖𝙡𝙠, and the question I have here is about meditation. I've been told that during meditation we are to watch our thoughts, and I've been doing that whenever I sit down for my prayers. But I'm not quite sure though what I'm supposed to do with the thoughts. Am I supposed to disseminate the idea of why the thought is coming to me, or see how long I think of that thought, or what I am trying to achieve with that meditation by watching my thoughts? Though just watching blankly at my thoughts have helped me not think about it so much, maybe I'm just subconsciously trying to evade my thoughts because the idea of me having to watch the thought is quite stressing, because I don't know where it's coming from and what I'm supposed to do when the thought comes to me. So my question is, when we sit down to meditate, and when the thought comes to us, what are we supposed to do with it? I know this question can be silly, but then I guess there is no better way to learn about it. That's very interesting.
As we said earlier, you know, no question is silly, no help is, you know, you have improved my mental health by asking. Actually, it's not a silly question, because, you know, it is very true that these are the challenges or the steps that, you know, we go through. First of all, I think to be able to, you know, watch your thought and see so many thoughts coming, it already means a very good progress. You know? Because if you are able to watch your thought, then there is a lot of space between when the thought comes, you know, thought arises in our mind, and we speak it out from, you know, speak it out from our mouth. There is a lot of you know, opportunity for us to, you know, I feel like somebody says something to you and you feel like that's your first response, but then you think about it and say, oh, if I say like that, you know, I don't think it is going to serve any purpose, you know, maybe I should say it in that way, you know. So all of these, you know, like they're saying that there was one astrologer who told the king that all your family members are going to die and you're going to live all alone for a long time. And he was nearly beheaded. Next day he disguised and he said, Your Majesty, you have the longest life among all your family members. And he was rewarded. for saying the same thing. So I think that when you have ability to observe your thought, and when it's become more, then definitely there is a gap between certain thought arises, and before you say something, before you do something, there is a much more kind of opportunity for you to, kind of play around with it, until you really act it out. Right? Now, in terms of practice itself, now there are different practices, but generally speaking, whatever thought arises, we are supposed to watch it, and not only watch it, but leave it as it is. Which means that, as we mentioned earlier, the example of a master who left the 1 kilo gold after, after 1 month he threw it away. Because, for example, if you are watching a stone and a gold, if you just see it, you can, with your eyes, you can see the gold. But if you just leave it as it is, you can see. But if you just leave whatever you are seeing as it is, the gold never comes and says that I am valuable. The value is the definition. So not only to the gold, it even applies to our emotions. Our emotions, they themselves do not really define themselves as a happiness or sad, that these are also our definition. So the reality nature of all emotion is something that we call, undefinable. Like a gold's value is beyond definable, nature of all the emotions is also undefinable. So that is why when you during the meditation, that kind of watching your mind, in the beginning stage, just able to watch and be aware is great. In the later stages, whatever thought comes, do not defining it as a negative mind, because once you say it's negative, then you want to react to it. Then another chain of thought comes. Then we say, the 100 chain of thought comes when you react to it. But if you just observe the thought, positive or negative, just leave it as it is, aware of it, yes. But if you are not aware, it means you have been distracted. So awareness has to be there, and no need to stop the thought. Just be aware without, discrimination, leave it as it is. That's how we begin to see the nature. For example, right now is like, if I ask, instead of asking you, what is your name? You might tell me, my name is Tashi. Right now what we are doing is, I am telling you are a Tashi. You are a gold. You are the fashion now. You are out of fashion now. You are a successful. We are defining everything. And what we are defining ourselves individually, collectively, we take it as a reality. And it affects us, happy, sad, whatever, So that is why the meditation of remaining aware without discrimination is to see everything as it is. Hear all the sound as it is, right? Right now, I think 𝐂𝐋𝐋 or 𝙂𝙮𝙖 from a loved one that is stupid, From loved one, you don't mind. It's stupid, You smile, Stranger calls you stupid, That's a harassment. Same sound, right? Praise and criticism, right? How it affects, because of our definitions, right? So similarly, watching the objects without discrimination, watching the sounds without discrimination, watching your thoughts without discrimination makes you truly understand the nature of the thoughts, emotions, objects. That is okay, you got it? Yes.
Thank you. Thanks, Rinpoche. Are there any other questions? Put your hand up. Thank you very much.
Dear Rinpoche, thank you for your great talk. My name is Rose. I'm from the nursing department. I'm the lecturer here. I think in your talk you talked about passion, and Phil, you have already raised the questions as a student how to search and seek help. And I do notice that increasing numbers of the students from Bhutan, and I also notice the situation you mentioned that they are not the ones initiating, first step to get help. So as a staff, can you give us advice? How could we initiate our steps to help them? Thank you.
there's I can just share you one of the words of the Buddha. He said that when you look at other beings, all the beings, some are very good to you. So all the beings you are helping, some are very good to you, and they are grateful to you, and you feel really like helping them. Some are, no matter how good you are to them, they are very ungrateful to you. And because of that, you develop the quality of the patience and forgiveness, understanding. So Buddha said, I'm not saying that I can do that. I'm just quoting what one of the inspiring words is. He said that when you look at other sentient being, look at them not like you are kind of look at them that like because of them, I'm becoming Buddha. So I feel that all of us, I think, who are in the profession of helping others, be it the teacher, be it counselor, I think we also have to acknowledge that our ability to help others also help us. I think that is the good attitude to, I think, that good thing. And then, of course, communication verbally, I think everybody feel welcome. I think that is very important, that we are helping each other, right? And which is, I think it is true, at least for myself, I think it is.
Thank you for that question. Are there any other questions, please? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Pandit. My question that I'm about to ask you, Rinpoche, is not just for me, but for everyone in this room. Even if you have a criminal record or something you did bad in life, can you still get enlightened and have wisdom?
That's a big question.
Yes, that was the reason why I was saying that, the country of Bhutan, His Majesty the King, he said that no matter what the crime, there'll be no punishment where we kill somebody. Because once you kill somebody, it means that, there's no hope, Rather, the punishment, I think, from my understanding, the punishment system in Bhutan is that, that you have done the negative things because of the circumstances, but now we want to give you opportunity not only pay for the crime you've done, but also hopefully to create a condition where you become a better person. That is why there's no, So definitely yes, because, whatever crime you have done, maybe you're an alcoholic person, maybe you are, committed a crime, but have you ever seen a baby that comes out of mother's womb with Jack Daniel in the hand? Or carrying a gun? No, right? No. So I think, I think that many of the negative habits are something that some are, maybe you can say, habits formed from past life, and some are things that we learn as we grow up. We learn from our parents, how the parents treat their parents, how the husband and wife, our parents communicate each other, learn from the society, learn from what we learn through the social media. All these things are conditions, creating habits and thought patterns. So if you're able to change that after you've committed the crime, if there is a sense of regret in yourself, and a sense of commitment that now I will definitely change, and not only just having commitment, but actively doing things which will create positive conditions, positive habits in yourself, definitely you will change. It's like very simply in the summer, you guys go out on the beach, you'll get dark. Put the sunscreen, winter you become fair, right? So due to condition, you become negative. due to condition, you can, overcome it and, and transform yourself.
Thank you. I love that concept of causes and conditions, which you talk a lot about.
Yeah.
You use the concept, I may pronounce this wrong, 𝙂𝙮𝙠𝙝?
Yes, 𝙂𝙮𝙠𝙝, exactly.
Did I say that right? Thank you. I think we have time for one more question from the audience, if anyone would like to ask Rinpoche a question. Down here, thank you.
A very good evening. Right now I'm really nervous to even stand here, but I really want to take this opportunity, and also from my heart I really like to thank Rinpoche. The first time I saw Rinpoche was in 2018 when I first took the Taro retreat in 𝙂𝙮𝙖𝙡. At that time I was a very naive, I would say, adolescent, because I had no idea of Buddhism. Although I was born in Bhutan, I know the idea of Buddhism, but I was not really connected to it. But then after taking that Taro retreat, my mind changed, and I feel like I've become more spiritual, and I kind of learned what Buddhism actually is. And thanks to Rinpoche, I feel like I'm more mature now. So from the last session that I took with Rinpoche has mentioned that our mind is our biggest enemy, a great friend, and also can be a source of liberation. So I can't understand our mind is our greatest enemy because I've experienced it. Like, I'm a very overthinker, like I get really conscious and nervous, but I have never understood how our mind can be our friend and our liberation. Because for me, to control my mind, I have to get validation from others, and I have to get help from others to calm my mind down, like to validate that what I'm doing is right, and whatever I do is not abnormal or it's good. So I'd like to ask Rinpoche, how can that, our mind, be our greatest friend or a source of liberation? Thank you, Lord.
First of all, I'm very happy that you came to Taro retreat and attended the retreat. I'm very happy that it was of benefit to you. And I'm definitely sure you have matured, and become more wiser, kinder, for sure. Now, our mind can be, the greatest enemy. It means that, what I meant was that, like you say, when we think a lot, when we overthink, and not only overthink, but when we overthink, we project a lot of things. What other people are thinking about you, what people are, saying about you, and we have a lot of projections which may not really be true, For example, some people, that might think, that, let's say, or if I somehow I have to, I don't get something and I have to go back to Bhutan, I'll be very embarrassing, Right? Many people might be thinking. But reality is that most of us are, in all our heart, number one VIP in the world is ourselves. That means everybody is busy thinking about themselves, They don't really have time to, think about us, Even if they think a little bit, they'll talk and gossip after that. Everybody is busy facing the challenges of life. But when you overthink, we imagine many, many scenarios, which are not really, the truth. And then when we let our mind go wild with the anger, then dissatisfaction, and then extreme selfishness, which is not balanced by caring for others, then our world becomes dark, lonely, a very dark world. So our mind is our greatest enemy. Right? But our mind can also be a greatest friend because, for example, instead of, the Buddha said that if you have a sense of contentment, you are the richest person. Maybe you are not Elon Musk, but if you kind of contemplate all the things that we have right now, maybe compared to many, we may be doing pretty well. If there's a sense of contentment, at that moment, we will feel a sense of satisfaction. If you have a sense of compassion, understanding, even towards to have harmed you, you kind of understand their motivations. Maybe you'll protect yourself, you'll keep distant, but at least you're able to let go of the resentment that has been eating you. So it's your mind that has to let you go, because nobody can, let go of it for you. Mental suffering, you have to overcome yourself, right? So your mind, when it thinks of positive things, compassion, tolerance, understanding, satisfaction, then your mind becomes your friend. And your mind becomes your liberation, can be your liberator, is that. But if on a deeper level, even the positive and negative things, called the sadness, failure, happiness, both of these arises from the mind. And where do these emotions come from? They come from the mind. Where do they disappear? When another thought comes, the sad thought you had in the morning or that minute, where did it go? It goes back into the mind. Which means that both of the happy and sad emotions are nothing but like a illusion of the mind. And when you understand the mind, how it creates there's a song in the Himalayan region, it says that I saw waves coming out of the ocean, and then it disappeared back into the ocean. And when the wave was looking so strong and black, I thought the wave is almost like something different from the ocean. But I forgot, it's just water. It goes back into the ocean. I saw so many clouds in the sky, and the clouds looked black, white, and I thought the sky had, become a cloudy, but no. Cloud came from the sky and disappeared back into the sky. Right? Similarly, I had so many emotions in my mind, happy, sad, many things. But then, these thoughts came from the nature of my mind and dissolved back into the nature of my mind. They were never separate from the nature, undefinable nature of the mind. They're like the emotion arise from the ocean like a wave and disappears back into the, into the ocean. So when you understand this thing, when you through the undefinable meditations, you kind of, even when you are experiencing happiness, you kind of see that happiness, if you don't, it's like seeing a snake in the darkness. It's so scary. And you imagine your phone is ready to call the ambulance, you have the stick ready. And then when you check nicely, it was just a rope. Right? And that moment, your knowledge that it is a rope has liberated you from the fear. Right? Snake, the rope had nothing to do. So similarly, when you understand that, when you begin to slowly kind of realize that your emotion arises from the nature, dissolve back into nature, its undefinable nature, then we begin to be liberated from the, chasing after this, avoiding this so-called positive, negative experience. We become liberated from both the definition of positive and negativity. So then I think, we call it so that is what I meant by your mind can be your friend, your mind can be your enemy, and if you understand the nature of your mind, it is your liberator.
Rinpoche, with your permission,
Yes.
I know somebody else wanted to ask a quick question. Someone,
Sure.
If that was all right, just
Yes, of course.
one more question, please. This is a wonderful opportunity, and
hi everyone, my name is 𝙂𝙮𝙖𝙡𝙠, and I wanted to ask a question which I have in my mind. I'm like midway between science and religion. I'm not on either side, just in between, hanging in between. And I've been away from my home country for like 2-3 years now, and then I was studying outside, and then I used to recite prayers and do meditation during my school time in my high school. Then after coming to Perth, I remember just reciting 𝙂𝙮𝙖𝙡𝙠 for one time. And then the next religious thing that happened was when I visited Rinpoche maybe 3-4 days back for a blessing. And then the question that I have in mind is like, I'm not able to earn merits doing reciting prayers and doing meditation. But what I can do in my life is I can help someone at my workplace or at school and earn merits from that. And I try to do that in my life as well, a lot of time actually. I try to understand my peers and my colleagues and then try to help them in every way possible. But sometimes it happens that the other person doesn't think as you do, and then they take advantage of you in some situations. So that when times like that comes, I feel disappointed and then I lose my faith in doing good deeds. So what advice would Rinpoche give to me in this regard?
Firstly, if you kind of distill all the various teaching of the Buddha has taught, it really comes into three things. That is, since cause and conditions create positive or negativity. First one, when we say do gewa or merit, it means that create positive cause and conditions. Right? It can be start with saying hello to, good morning to your family, to helping others, or doing prayers, that. And avoid negative condition can be the decisions and the choice that we make that are harmful to others and yourself. Not doing that is not doing dikpa. And the last one is taming your mind. So the taming your mind part is where I think the meditation and some prayers and daily practices help, because whenever you are doing practice, you are basically engaging with your mind. When you are doing physical exercise, your body is becoming strong. But when you are doing prayers and meditation, you are exercising your mind, and that's how your mind becomes strong, so that you have ability to understand things and deal with the things. And I feel that when we do good to others, if you really believe in the cause and condition, that means that somehow or other, whatever good you have done, will create whatever good you have done, will create positive condition for you. Maybe one or two people will not appreciate it because of their way of looking at a life. There's a joke that husband came come home from work very tired, and the wife gave him a rose, and husband said, "I want a glass of water." And the husband said in the middle of the night, he woke his wife and said, "I love you a lot." And the wife said, "Please let me sleep, I'm tired." That is the real love, right? So our definition of what is good for others is also our definition, others people have. But generally I will say that if you are really kind of, have a clear perspective, generally if you are a good human being, generally speaking, you will always attract good people. People will appreciate you, 70 to 80% of the time, I think that good things will happen to you. But the problem with us is, I think that firstly, when we do good things, we should be doing good because you value your mental health. You want to be you want to be someone who has a sense of caring for others, sense of connected to others, not necessarily because others are grateful to you. Because when you expect gratitude, then it's like in our Bhutanese we say, 𝙂𝙮𝙖𝙡𝙠. So sometimes our kindness can become a burden to others, if we are expecting, and I'm sure you are not doing it, but reminding others of how kind I have been to you guys, every day, then the kindness becomes a bit of a burden, too heavy to carry. So that is why, like Guru Rinpoche said, first take care of your need, and then, take care of others' need. So once you've taken care of your need, you have enough money for yourself, your tuition, And then somebody is begging for help, or some chesok is asking for donation, you give happily, you know. If you are not ready, you know, say, please, I'm not ready, because even if you give $1 million with a sense of expectation and a regret, there's no merit, you know. So you lose money as well as merit, no? That's a loss either way, no? So that's why Guru Rinpoche said, take care of your need and then help others, you know, wholeheartedly without expecting. Okay? And I feel that if you're really kind of thing, you know, that, and another thing is when you do good things, I think sometimes we have expectation of great others, and also, even though there are many who appreciate you, sometimes we focus on the 1 or 2 person who doesn't appreciate you, and you forget all others who appreciate you, you know, right? Maybe you're a great professor, you know, and then all the students appreciate you, others attract you, but maybe, you know, some or few people don't appreciate you, then you resign, no? Right? Yeah. So the negative voice, we put more value than the 80% of the positivity, you know, and appreciation. I think from my life experience, I've seen it like that. Maybe, you know.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Thank you for those questions. Thank you, everyone, for those questions. And thank you so much for this very enlightening, encouraging, and inspirational talk. Rinpoche, it's been an honour and blessing for me personally and for all of us to hear your words. Thank you for sharing your valuable time, your wisdom and insights with us. I wish we could continue. There is no doubt you have given all of us so much to reflect on after today's discussion. On behalf of myself, our students, everyone here and online, Murdoch University and beyond, we offer you all our humble prayers and blessings and best wishes for your continued well-being. So if we can all join together and thank Rinpoche for his time.
I would like to join Dr. Phil in thanking our Rinpoche for a very insightful talk. I would also like to thank Dr. Phil for moderating this session. Not to forget, I would like to thank our audience for the thought-provoking questions, and I'm sure we are indeed very blessed, and I'm sure we will, with the Rinpoche's talk today, we will find a way, clear our mind, and help lift the heavy baggage of stress and anxiety we are carrying. Thank you once again. Thank you. With this, I'll just run through what we have for the next few hours. So we have Tashwang who will just give a brief explanation of what 𝙂𝙮𝙖𝙡 is for our international friends here. After that, we will have a short break of 20 minutes. And during the break time, we do have some refreshments outside if you would like to grab some. And for this, I would like to thank the 𝙂𝙮𝙖𝙡 family for coming up with this refreshments. After the 20 minutes break, I would like to request everyone to be back to the hall to receive the blessing now. Thank you for your patience. Thank you so much.